I hate to be this guy when it comes to talking about TV shows, but I figured I would have to be. What am I talking about? I'm watching Defenders, and I'm gonna do a review-ish type deal for each episode. I just got done watching the very first episode of the Defenders, titled The H Word. And of course, talking about heroes, how many times did they drop that word in this episode? We all know the Defenders are the um, not so popular heroes, even less so than Iron Man before the Iron Man movie, even less so than Thor before the Thor movie, and even less so than all of them before the Avengers. Listen, the Defenders is like the sub Avengers, if you will. Let's put it that way. I mean, this is the bitch of the Avengers, or at least it's hopefully going to be that. Netflix, did you bite off more than you could chew here? Don't know by the first episode, but let's put it into perspective, if we will. What we have here is the mashup of all four: Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Iron Fist. They're all here. The Doctor, who has basically been the only thing tying these heroes together, is here as well. Of course she would be. She's residing in Harlem. I didn't get to catch the end of Luke Cage. It's legitimately the only show that I myself did enjoy. I didn't care for Iron Fist, just putting that out there, and I could not continue watching Daredevil. Jessica Jones, I am past a lot of the cop shit. There's way too many cop shows out there, and she's not a legit hero. She's just a cop. I don't really find her that interesting. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. I don't. So, she's a cop who drinks. That's kind of the stereotype in a lot of cop dramas. I'm not wasting my time. I'm sorry if that hurts any feelings, and if there's more going on in the show, comment down below and let me know so I'll know to go watch it. Tell me what episode it is so I don't waste my time with the whole fucking show. That being said, let's jump into the first episode. It starts off with Iron Fist. That's the first thing, because Iron Fist was not well received at all. I don't think there was any real positive Iron Fist reviews. A lot of it was really like, okay, this show sucks. The fuck are y'all doing? And even though it had a lot of, like, it was 8 episodes, a lot of them were horrible. I think the only good one was directed by the RZA, and it showed. I mean, you could tell the difference from that episode versus everyone else. This one, the first episode here, I don't know who it was directed by, but I know for a fact that, being that it starts off with Iron Fist, and it takes him back to, like, I think 3 years prior to this. He's in another location, and he's just now coming to New York. So this sets up pre-Iron Fist, like before his whole show. At least the first episode. We see Luke Cage getting out of prison. This is all in before, like, 15 minutes of the episode starts. Iron Fist is coming to New York. We see, well, I hope that's him coming to New York before he has the whole show, because they didn't really set it up that well, although he did have his sidekick, so I don't know what was going on there. It seems like something was amiss. I don't know exactly what. We saw Luke Cage getting out of prison. Like I said, I didn't get to see the whole first season. I stopped because, to me, it got a little redundant. Not because I didn't like the show, it just really started getting annoying to me. And I'm not the only one who thought that. I have a couple friends who really enjoyed the first couple of episodes, but after that, they just really didn't like it. Jessica Jones, I've never watched her. I don't really care for her. She's kind of fitting into the whole cop stereotype thing. And then we have Daredevil, who has stopped being Daredevil. Matt Murdock is just Matt Murdock, a blind lawyer who apparently is together with somebody. And they're all doing their own thing. They're not yet together in this episode. They haven't met. They're all off doing their own thing. Luke Cage is trying to help some kid who has lost his sister and apparent brother who has been killed by something. Iron Fist is coming to New York. Jessica Jones is trying to figure out whether or not she needs to take another fucking couple shots and whether or not she should take a case. And of course, you have Daredevil, who is now the lawyer firm representing Luke Cage. All this is going on in episode 1. It seems like it's not that long, but all these are about 45 minutes. So if it was on basic cable, it would be an hour. The ending of the episode shows what looks like an earthquake and sets up for all of them feel the earthquake. You got Luke Cage, a telephone pole basically falls and almost kills the mother of the 2 kids who were killed, and he catches it and saves her. Daredevil looks to be hearing the city and contemplating on becoming Daredevil again. Matt Murdock, that is. He's like, should I be Daredevil? He's fighting his inner demons, I guess, so to say. Jessica Jones is broken into a house of somebody who was trying to scare her through a phone. And of course, Iron Fist has shown back up, I guess, into New York. That's all that's going on. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, for this to be the opening to the Defenders, this is kind of a weak start. Okay, I know, I get it. It's the start of the season. But again, we're talking about 4 superheroes here. 2 of them have history and together make Heroes for Hire. And I've touched on this with a couple of my friends. I wish I would have talked about this before, but I haven't on my channel because I just figured this was something that wouldn't be worth talking about, but I'm talking about it now. Heroes for Hire was such a thing with Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and it should have been a thing with the Luke Cage, especially knowing they were going to do Iron Fist. They could have brought Iron Fist in to the Luke Cage thing and introduced the Defenders in a whole different way, especially knowing they were going to do Iron Fist. And then they could have had Luke Cage walk on and do walk-on roles in Iron Fist. And they didn't do that. They just refused to give a nod in that general direction at all. Hopefully they give a nod to it in the Defenders. I'm hoping they do, but that really turned me away from Iron Fist. I really had a problem with that. A lot of people had a problem with that. And me personally, I think that's kind of shitty for the writers to do that. Especially being as big as Luke Cage and Iron Fist are as a duo. I mean, it's kind of like, I think it's, Green Lantern and The Flash. Those boys tag team all the time. The Flash and Arrow have crossovers every season now. And, I mean, it's kind of like you gotta tilt your hat to the comics. You have to. It's kind of like you have to acknowledge this. DC, they do it all the time. Marvel, why you don't feel the need to at least nod and say thank you for the, work you guys do is kind of insulting, okay? I get it. You don't necessarily take from the comic books. Neither does DC, but at least they nod to them and say, hey, we acknowledge you. And I think that's what, really bothers me here, is that you don't at least tilt the hat. Okay? And like I said, I'm trying to keep it about the first episode, but that really bothers me, is that Heroes for Hire wasn't even brought up in Luke Cage or fucking Iron Fist. They didn't even bring it up. I mean, they didn't even try to bring it up. They didn't even have a walk-on role where Iron Fist and Luke Cage meet up, and that doctor lady just was like, hey, you guys are doing it. And I know I've seen the advertisement where they do that in the Defenders, but I figured it should have been in Iron Fist or it should have been in Luke Cage's own first season. They should have done that then. They shouldn't have done that in the Defenders, because the Defenders brings them all together, and they should have had them two being a friend and had their crossovers in their respective ways. And I know that's bringing up whole like DC universe type shit, but still they should have at least acknowledged it. Especially with as popular as Luke Cage is. Use Luke Cage to introduce Iron Fist. Then Iron Fist goes and gets his own show, just the same way Barry Allen did with The Flash. He was introduced on Arrow and he went off to do The Flash. But they didn't do it that way. And it bugs me because, again, Heroes for Hire is a thing. And that is something they should have done. And I think that's why I really didn't like Iron Fist. But again, I kind of like the idea of using the source material, or at least making an attempt to say we realize it's there. Now, for the first episode, I did cover the majority of it here, and I know the video's going on for a while. But I'm fixing to sit down and watch this episode 2 called Mean Right Hook. I don't know anything about it, but I'm fixing to watch it. But the first episode really did not set the tone for the whole season. At least I'm hoping, because episode 1 was nowhere near as good as I think it should have been. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section. Did you watch The Defenders? And this is only about episode 1. I'm doing them all independently here. What did you guys think about episode 1? The H word. Did you guys enjoy that episode? Did you hate that episode? Did it really set a good tone for the rest of the season? Because for me, overall, I personally don't think it did. I don't think it set it up the right way it should have. And I don't think they led up into the Defenders the right way. The way they did with the Avengers is the way they should have done with the Defenders, especially considering the rules don't really apply. They have television shows versus movies. They have a lot more give than they have with the movies being on a television show with Netflix. You have a lot less rules and a lot more play, and you could have done it a whole lot better. That's the way I'm thinking. And I feel like this is really not looking good. Episode 1 is not setting up for this season to be good, and I'm hoping it gets better. Anyway, I'm going to go watch episode 2 while this uploads, and I will probably have an episode 2 review up after the episode 2. Deuces.